she is the king of all sports. She's taken no athlete, no male athlete, no woman athlete, no one has ever taken a league and put the entire league on their back.
Imagine carrying the league on your back, and the people you play with act like you don't even belong. Let's get straight to it, because what just happened with the WNBA All-Star voting? Yeah, that's got everybody talking, not just fans, not just media. So Caitlin Clark, the most talked about rookie in years, gets voted into the All-Star game as a starter, which makes sense. She led the fan vote with over 1.29 million votes. That's not just impressive, that's unheard of. But here's the twist: while fans and even media showed love, the players, they ranked her the 9th best guard. 9th. Let me just say that again. The player vote, the people who literally share the court with her, put Caitlin Clark at number 9 among guards. And somehow we're supposed to just believe that's fair?
All-Star voting told us something, and it confirms exactly what we think. The other players in the league can't stand Caitlin Clark. I mean, it's baffling.
It's like the fans and media are watching one game, and the players are watching something completely different. So, what's going on here? Is this just a difference of opinion? Or is there something deeper, something personal happening behind the scenes? Now let's break this down for real. Caitlin Clark has been under a microscope since day one. Every game she's getting double-teamed, blitzed off screens, body-checked in the paint. You'd think she was a 10-year veteran with MVP trophies stacked on her shelf. The league defends her like she's Steph Curry in the finals. So, you mean to tell me she's only the 9th best guard in the league? Come on, that doesn't add up. If she's not a threat, then why do teams bend their entire defensive schemes just to slow her down? Why is she the focus of every scouting report? Why are we seeing clips of her being face-guarded 94 feet from the hoop? Either the players respect her game and just don't want to admit it, or they're letting personal feelings get in the way of real basketball judgment. And that's what makes this so frustrating, because we're not just talking about votes here. We're talking about recognition, about giving credit where it's due. So let me ask you, if Caitlin wasn't good, why is she treated like public enemy number 1 every time she steps on the floor? Now let's talk about Paige Bueckers, because this part of the All-Star results caught a lot of people off guard. Paige has been balling this season, no doubt. She's looked smooth, smart, and her numbers are solid. But the final rankings? They had Paige ahead of Caitlin. Fans voted Paige 2nd. Media had her at 5. Players put her at 4. Overall, she landed higher than Clark. Now here's where it gets tricky. If we line up the stats, Caitlin still leads in most major categories: points, assists, three-pointers, total impact on the floor, and she's doing it with a struggling Fever team while carrying the weight of being the league's biggest draw. So how does Paige, who's great but not drawing double teams every night, leapfrog Clark in the rankings? This isn't about who's likable, it's about who's actually dominating. And I'm not saying Paige doesn't deserve her spot, but if she's ahead of Caitlin based on performance, we've got to question how these rankings were made. Be honest, do you think Paige deserved to be ranked above Caitlin Clark? Or is this just another example of the league pushing back against the attention Clark's been getting? Let's move to the front court now, and y'all, what happened to Aaliyah Boston is just as bad, if not worse. Boston is quietly having a monster season. She's efficient, she's physical, and she plays like a vet who's been dominating for years. But according to the player vote, she's the 9th best front court player in the WNBA. Seriously? You've got rookies ranked ahead of her, players who've had flashes but nowhere near her consistency or leadership. One name in particular, Kiki Iriafen, was ranked above Aaliyah. Now, don't get me wrong, Kiki's been solid, but she's not Aaliyah Boston. This just doesn't feel like a fair evaluation. It feels like bias, plain and simple. And when you look at the pattern Clark disrespected, Boston disrespected, it starts to look like it's not just about individual performance. So here's the question. Is this about basketball, or is this about sending a message to the Indiana Fever because it's starting to feel like anyone who wears that Fever jersey has to work twice as hard just to get half the credit. Okay, let's just be real here. The player vote isn't always about skill. We're starting to see it clearly now. Players are voting for their friends, their teammates, or people they just personally vibe with, not necessarily the ones who are dominating on the court. Take Kelsey Plum, for example. The media ranked her 6th, but the players? 16th. That's a 10-spot drop. Now explain that. Plum's been a key leader for the Sparks. She's efficient, aggressive, and contributes in big moments. Yet she gets ranked lower than players who aren't even making highlights on a weekly basis. Then there's Natasha Cloud. Media says she's 8th. Players say she's tied for 4th. Why? Because people like her. And I get it. Personality matters. But when it comes to All-Star, we've got to focus on performance. This just proves that the player vote, it's about who's in the in crowd. And if you're not part of the clique, you're getting left behind no matter how good you are. So, what do you think? Should the WNBA get rid of the player vote in All-Star rankings? Or does it still offer value, even if it's biased? Let's shift gears to the MVP race, because that's where things get even more dramatic. Right now, it's basically a 2-player race. Napheesa Collier versus A'ja Wilson. Collier has been on a tear. She's dominating every stat line, leading her team like a true MVP and doing it with intensity on both ends. The media, they ranked her 2nd. Fans, number 1. But the players, also 2nd. A'ja still holds the top spot, even though, let's be honest, she hasn't been as dominant this season. Now, I'm not saying A'ja doesn't deserve love. She's been the face of the league for a while. But if we're basing MVP votes on this season alone, Collier's numbers speak for themselves. So what are we voting on here? Performance or reputation? Because if it's reputation, then fine, A'ja wins. But if it's about who's balling the hardest right now, then Napheesa deserves more respect. Tell me, if you had one MVP vote, who's getting it, A'ja or Napheesa? We've got to talk about Julie Vanloo, because what happened to her was cold. She just helped Belgium win a major tournament, hopped on a plane, literally flew back to the US to report to her team, the Golden State Valkyries, and mid-flight, she gets waived. Found out through social media. Not her agent, not her coach, not the team, Twitter. That's insane. And yeah, the WNBA is a business, but there's a way to treat players with respect. Julie deserved a heads up. She just represented her country and flew halfway across the world to honor her WNBA commitment. The WNBA says it wants growth, more viewers, more respect, more money. And thanks to stars like Caitlin Clark, they're getting it. But here's the problem. You can't grow a league while tearing down the people responsible for that growth. You can't ask fans to show up, then ignore their votes. You can't beg for media attention, then silence players who bring it. You can't call it sisterhood, then rank your peers like it's a high school popularity contest. It's like the league wants all the benefits of stardom without the hard conversations that come with it. So now we're watching the most exciting WNBA season in years, and it's being overshadowed by drama, jealousy, and pettiness. What do you think? Can the WNBA survive this kind of tension? Or is it time for serious change from the top down? Let's bring it home. This All-Star situation wasn't just about snubs. It wasn't just about Clark or Boston or Collier. It was about something bigger. It showed us that the WNBA is at a crossroads. Either it steps into this new era with transparency, fairness, and actual respect, or it collapses under its own weight. Because right now, fans are frustrated, players are confused, and the league is looking shaky. So, what now? Players need to be honest with themselves. Coaches need to speak up. The league office, they need to listen. Because if this keeps up, fans are going to check out. And players like Caitlin Clark, who bring millions to the league, might just take their talents elsewhere. So, I'm asking you, what's the future of the WNBA really look like if this continues? Growth or self-sabotage? Let me know in the comments. Hit that like if you made it this far, subscribe for more real talk, and I'll catch you in the next one.